All right, so our final review of the day is going to be for Hunter x Hunter. We're reviewing this series arc by arc because it's a pretty big series. Probably the biggest series we've taken on thus far, reviewing animes. So we're reviewing it arc by arc. If you want to check out our reviews of the other arcs, you can do so at youtube.com, the afternoon tune, and you'll be able to find our reviews. I've done them all with Sage here. We've reviewed all the other previous arcs here of Hunter x Hunter. And which arc are we reviewing now? We're reviewing the York Newtown City arc there of Hunter x Hunter. Now this arc involves them kind of facing off a group of the mafiosos, like kind of these mob bosses here. This kind of evil group known as the Phantom Troop. But the story kind of starts off about Gon, who's he's trying to look for his father. That's kind of the main overall kind of theme of this series here. He became a hunter because his father was a hunter. And he discovers, like, he's going through his father's things, discovers something there that, like, a message his father left behind, and then this kind of a clue. In order to get the other part of the clue to find the location of his missing father, he discovers that it's inside an object there that's going to be in an auction. So they go to like this huge auction there, that's in this place. They're in York Newtown. When they go to this huge auction, a lot of the people there get assaulted and they get killed by this Phantom Troop, by these criminals here, and they end up kind of hunting. The Phantom Group kind of takes a special interest in Gon and the rest of his crew, and then they come into conflict with each other. Now it's been a little minute since I've seen this because I watched this before I left because we've taken a pause, but reviewing the arc. So it's been a little bit of a minute since I've seen this, but so far, I would say this is probably my favorite arc of the show. So far, I do really enjoy it. I thought it was really good. I think the villains they set up here is really nice. The different kind of characters there. I think they present a really dangerous threat to the art characters here of Gon, of Killua, of Karapaka. I think they do present a good job there, and a lot of the battles here are really good as well when they're kind of facing off. But I'm going to pass it to Sage. Sage, what are your thoughts on the York Newtown City arc here?
Well, I can say that this is the arc I disliked the least so far of the arcs on the show.
Mm,
Um, I do think that there is some plot momentum that's built up here, being having these organizations and the conflict between them. You have these like an assassins versus mafia sort of situation. Um, there is on paper, I think so much of that description sounds really exciting to me, than the way that you describe it. In practice, watching it, I still it doesn't quite come off as thrilling as I think it sounds like it would. Um, but I do appreciate that there is some movement here that I felt was missing in the arcs previous to this one. Um, there is like a character stake with I sometimes feel like I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but Kura Kipka, is that his name?
Karapaka.
Um, Kurapika, okay. And these assassin characters, they had basically killed his entire home of people and like carved their eyes out to sell them. And so it's the first time in the show where it feels like there's a personal stake for one of the characters that we've been spending time with, like more than just I'm gonna pass my DMV test sort of situation. But like it feels like he's actually, hey, something actually happened to me in my past that is coming back up again. There's a actual threat here that I'm going to deal with, and it actually might result in some deaths, and it does. So there's something here that I think the show was lacking up to this point. I still though I still feel like I just even with these characters, these assassins and these mafia characters, I don't love the character designs. And I know I probably sound like a broken record with these reviews, but um, just I think that the animation itself is good. It's well made. But just like from an art direction perspective, I just don't think these characters are interesting to look at. And so even though I think it's well put together and these action sequences are clearly time and effort was put into them, I don't think they cheaped out on it. I still find myself kind of not very absorbed by what's happening, just because the art direction underneath that animation to me just still falls flat.
Mm. Okay. So you have Karipika. We kinda didn't see much of him, I feel like, in the other kinda arcs, not as much as we have in the first arc where we got introduced to everybody. It's a lot of been just Gone and then Killua, a lot of their adventures, them training at the tournament, them learning Nin, various things like that. I feel like we haven't really gotten a whole lot of Karipika. He comes in every now and then, but here it feels like a lot more is kinda also dedicated to him here, and so what he's doing is he's the bodyguard of a daughter of the head of the mafia family. There's, a hit that's going to be out on her and out on her father there as well. So that's what these assassins are kind of doing is trying to kill in like this war between the assassins and mafia, as you said. So you didn't like the designs of the mafia figures? I mean, of the assassin figures of the troop there, the Phantom troop that you kind of see
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I just kind of I don't know. They just don't stand out as being all that interesting looking to me. And again, it's not a matter of the quality of the animation. It's more just it's kind of just for the whole show. It's been an art direction thing for the whole series where like Gone even the main cast. I feel like just are a little bland in their design and visual aesthetic. And I kind of just feel the same way about these villains. There's this I don't know if I don't want to say lack of creativity necessarily, but I don't know, something about the way they look just doesn't really do a lot for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like thinking that they had a little bit their own little bit of skill set there that they had, power. You had the one character we saw, Karapika fight, the big kind of, he kind of looks like that character from Street Fighter. What's the character name?
Are you thinking of the green one, Blanca?
Blanca, yeah, it kinda looks like a little bit
Yeah,
like Blanca, has a Blanca thing to him. There, we also see your favorite character, there as well, who's a part of it, Hisoka, he's a part of the crew there. For a
yeah.
little bit, we see him. We also see a character we saw in when they were in the first arc where they were trying to get their hunter's license, the family member of Killua, he's also a part of the, Phantom Troop as we see there. So, some of them have their own kinda unique kinda thing there about them and usually there. When it comes to a lot of the animation as far as their look them, I think they had a distinctive enough look for me in design wise. I don't know how it is in the manga there, how that is. I haven't read the manga.
I can't say I've really spent much time comparing the book version.
Okay, so maybe the animation there, because I know when we talked about Claymore, the artwork in Claymore is way more interesting, I feel like, in the manga than it is actually in the show.
Oh, vastly better in the manga for that one.
Yeah, so, could be a different thing there with that. But yeah, I mean, so I feel like there's a lot happening here in this arc. At first, it kind of seemed a little dim of like, okay, we're playing scavenger hunt of them, and because they have to go to the auction to bet on this thing to get the game console, so he can get the other part of the clue to find his father. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really as interested in that. But yeah, so I wasn't really as kinda interested as, in that as much, but when it kinda gets going from that and then what happens at the actual auction with the assassins, and then from there, how they kinda continue with that, I was interested in that. I kinda liked a lot of that. I thought the head figure of it, the Lucifer figure, very dangerous. I thought he's very dangerous, very mysterious type character, there with the did you find at least I know you didn't like the animation of the game, but did you like the personalities of some of the members there?
He was the one you're talking about here. I think he was probably the most interesting. I felt like there was a bit of personality to him, but I kind of the rest of the group I didn't really click too much with. But he at least had some interesting some of the kind of fortune telling scenes between him and is it the daughter that Kara Kipka is or I know I'm saying his name wrong, but the
Karipika?
daughter that he's supposed to be a bodyguard for, that kind of whole fortune telling of like his death and some of that's kind of cool. Um, but also you can't forget the whole eBay training arc that's built into the beginning of this too. They felt the need to spend a whole episode explaining like the intricate details of how the eBay auction engine works.
Yeah, well, it's helpful, man. Sometimes you don't wanna get, ripped off, man, sell too high, you know what I mean? Sell too low, buy too high, buy too low. It's important to know that. While he
Yeah,
tries
yeah.
to,
They
uh
just I guess I just wasn't necessarily looking for this for a TV show to kind of give me the play by play on that. But
yeah, him trying to get his, PlayStation 1 there, he's trying to get the PlayStation 1, as he's trying to get there. Yeah, and you do see it, not to say Gone and Killua, you do see them, and they end up getting captured by the Phantom Troop there. And they're constantly always trying to meet more stronger foes. Obviously that's going to build their strength and their power. Facing off against a lot more kind of more powerful foes there. What did you think about the role of Gon and Killua in this arc there?
I mean I really found them their whole part pretty forgettable. As with the other part, I think the only part of this that I found to have that more more momentum filled engagement was Kurapika. Really, and he had that personal
Karippa,
theme.
you mean?
I sorry, I really that one I'm having a hard time with that one. But I felt like his connection to the villains, having a history with them, and there being I just felt like there was something tangible there with his character that for me, Gon and Killua I just still don't feel that. I felt it a little bit with the arc with Killua's family that we talked about in the last review, but I still just don't really feel like I have a big reason to be invested in what these characters are actually doing. Um, and I would have this arc having that with that one character is to me that is makes it the best arc so far. But I still feel like with the actual protagonist of the series, I still just don't feel that kind of connection with him.
Mm. Okay. Was the best person to you in this arc, was it Karipika? 'Cause
I think so. Yeah, I felt like he had a really definable goal that was relatable, that came from history that was established with these villains, something that was foreshadowed and hinted at happening a little earlier on. I think we could have got to this faster, mind you, but yeah, to me that there was character development there. It was maybe that character out of them expresses like a little bit of a dark side too, maybe, which I think the show also to me sometimes it feels like it has a hard time balancing its tone where it will get really violent at times, which clashes with that kind of power friendship anime feel that I think so much of it has. And in some ways, you'd think that seems like a nice thing because it's like, oh, it's unexpectedly darker than you'd think it would be. Um, but for me, it kind of just makes it feel like two different shows, and it doesn't quite gel together into one thing. Um, and similarly, something that we talked about, I think in the first review that we did, it continues to have that element with the world itself, where we go from like this kind of very fantasy realm in the nature setting to all right, we're going to sit on our computer and look at eBay for half an hour and then go to a New York type. I don't know. The not that you can't have these different kinds of settings within one world, but I feel like the way that we transition between these different locations just I still just have a hard time kind of getting a feel for what this world is supposed to be like still.
yeah. Uh, hmm, I guess I can kinda see that a little bit there. Um, just as far as I guess some of the way they do kinda balance things, because the stuff with the Phantom Troop, I think, is pretty violent, I think some of the stuff that they kinda do there. And then especially, like, because Karipika is with other, hunters bodyguarding the daughter there, and you do see some of
Mm-hmm.
them get taken out. And there's a scene where, the Blanca looking dude, and he kind of comes in and then wipes out these other people that are meant to kill him there, and you think like, oh well, what is he going to do to get out of this situation? And the way that he deals with them is pretty violent in a way there. It makes for a good moment though. I think it makes for a kind of a good moment there. But yeah, I can kind of see. I think the MVP of this arc is Karipika. I think he's really great there. I think he does a fantastic job of a lot of stuff. Like I said, the more connection that he has with the assassins is good. I think the villains here are really good. I think the setup of them and the establishment of them are really nice. Their kind of own code and the way they kind of work. The kind of the little bit of a democracy they have as far as voting goes of like what they're going to do in their actions. I thought was interesting when you see them actually in their hideout trying to make decisions or trying to figure out what to do. I thought that was very good. Um, yeah, I really have, a lot of positives, about this arc. So far for me, I mean, arc-wise with this show, so I liked this arc, and I don't think there's been an outright terrible arc. I think the first arc was good, the Hunter exam arc. I thought, also the Heavens Arena arc, it's just mostly a training arc there. I think that's just mostly a training arc there for that one, and then the Zoldyck family stuff was that was fine. I mean, you learn about Killua and, like, his special skills and everything like that, the power of friendship and all that good stuff, with that one. But I think this one is my favorite one so far and kinda what it done there. Um, yeah, yeah, and like I said, yeah, the very, very, personal connection with Kurapika was, I thought, very interesting to kinda watch, and this was 22 episodes. The length of this arc the next one will be a little bit shorter, it'll be the Green Island arc, which is 17 episodes. Which is
Yeah,
that one. Have you already seen that?
I've finished the whole show actually already.
Okay, so you finished the whole show already. So yeah. So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on the Green Island arc when we come up on that one. I don't know what that one's going to be about, but yeah. So I think this is a lot of positives, man. I I had a good time watching this one. I don't think it was. It had a little bit of a slow start, but when the kind of things got going, I think that it did really well. What rating would you give this arc anyway?
I mean, I'm not going to give it a skip at this time, like I did with the last two. This one, I'm going to give stream it kind of on the lower end of stream it still. But I didn't think it was just a. I didn't feel like I was just watching nothing happen, the way I did with the first two. I felt like there was actually events. There was momentum here. Um, there was character building, at least for one character, that I thought worked. I still don't think the cast as a whole is working in that sense, but at least just one of them that's better than I think, in my opinion, than what we had before. So it is building on itself at least in that sense. I do think, like I said, I think there's a tonal whiplash for me where like it'll get violent here, and I find that in those moments isolated, it can be make for an interesting moment, or a more enjoyable moment. But I also think it comes across as an unearned escalation of the tone, where the transition between the bright, happy-go-lucky to this dark, more violent element of it, just like it's like how did we get from one to the other? It doesn't. It just I don't know. That transition doesn't quite feel earned for me.
Like
Um,
wacky like this,
but
like
it's
she's using Luigi Mansion. She's using the vacuum from Luigi's Mansion.
yeah, I guess get Luigi in there as like a crime scene cleanup crew guy. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one the lower end of a stream it. It's the most positive I've been on the show so far for sure. Um, I think it's working better, but I still kind of think it's just this. I still think this is just okay.
Okay. I'll give it a little bit high. I give it a tune in for me. Just because I thought it was enjoyable, kind of the dynamic between the heroes and the villains in this episode and this arc here. I thought it was very good. Get to a little bit see Macripica shine there. Still not a lot of Lario for him to do. It still gets kind of the short end of the stick a lot of stuff there, but
Yeah, I don't think that's changing.
yeah, he's still training. He was trying to be a doctor, right, or a lawyer, doctor, right, doctor.
I think so. I think
Yeah, he's
so.
trying to be a doctor. Yeah, trying to be a doctor. Two options: lawyer, doctor. They're trying to
Buy
get
your
that.
way into it. I don't know if I trust that kind of doctor.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, school's expensive. Even in this, you can't get escape student loans. You need a good way to get through that. So that's why, yeah. So Lenario, yeah. So good to see him. So not a lot of stuff with him in this arc, but yeah, it feels like he gets the short end of the
Don't
stick.
worry, there's an episode coming up where he expends 20 minutes explaining exactly how student loans work. So
Oh, nice. Okay, need that. Need that. Good. Need that. So you gave it to stream it. I gave it a tune in for Hunter x Hunter's York Newtown arc.